Ciao ragazzi, we are the Måneskin MåMås, a tribe of women from across the USA brought together by the glory of Måneskin, and we are here to talk about our deepest Moonlight confessions. Come on in.
All right, Laura, we are back. It's been a while. Episode 3. My name is Sandra. I am here with Kathy and Della. And Della, what's in your cup today?
Ciao ragazzi. I have tried a new Prosecco. I got to try some. I can tell you they're not all the same. This one's decent, but I had one the other day that I thought, no, I'm so glad I tried that for the podcast. You would have seen me spit it out. But anyway, a cute little bottle. I love Prosecco. It's dry, like we talked about, a nice dry Prosecco. But I'm having a long zero.
Speaking of caffeine, or the absence of caffeine, Kathy, what's in your cup?
Oh, it's so exciting today. I have a mixture of half Gatorade and half water. I'm trying to stay hydrated. So, yeah, I am boring. I had a decaf cup of that Borboni Amalfi Coast. Actually, I had half calf and full calf with the Pete's decaf. I'm just really watching all my hydration levels, which is what you gotta do with my...
I know, but age does not stop us from rocking with this band.
Tell us, Mama.
I'll tell you, my cup has Prosecco in it, but I'm just sipping it today because I'm still dealing with some things. But I'd rather have Moët in my cup.
Oh, yeah, Moët. Yeah, I'll tell you something. I haven't had a cocktail, an alcohol drink since November. Not one, not yet. Well, when you have to have surgery and you're dealing with some stuff, you have to make decisions. And it was an easy decision to make. I really didn't feel like it. But now that my surgery's over, I'm on the road to recovery, I want a freaking glass. Or a glass of red wine or something soon.
Red wine with an ice cube.
Absolutely. The Sicilian way. Sorry.
So I hope we all get to have a glass of Prosecco in person with Kathy, especially at some point in definitely 2025. We'll see if it happens in 2024.
Oh, it'll happen in 2024. This is only May. We'll be good.
Okay, I like the enthusiasm. Yep. So, Met Gala. Who wants to talk about Met Gala first?
Well, we should all talk about it. I've been watching Met Gala for years. I just love every costume. Just when they come in and who's wearing what. And I still, on TikTok, I watch all these fashion fashionistas. They review them all. And they give them, 4 edits to describe who's wearing what. It's an incredible event, and this year with all the flowers, it's just so beautiful to look at. Sometimes, like last year was all, I think it was Karl Lagerfeld, cat dumb. I didn't like it. This year was just gorgeous. And of course, as much as I don't want to say it, Dove looked gorgeous. Sorry.
Can I stop you
Absolutely.
right there and let our listeners know that every time someone says Dove, we have to take a sip of something.
Sorry.
Whatever it is. We're going to try not to speak about Dove.
And please, let's try not.
And maybe we won't all...
How are we going to talk about the Met Gala if we don't talk about Dove and that?
Okay.
And that trick.
So
because there was another half to that couple that is
absolutely. Well, this starts the whole thing.
So...
While y'all are drinking, I'm going to admit, Kathy, I am opposite. I don't think I've ever watched a full red carpet for the Met Gala. So what you just said was very educational for me. I didn't know that there was a different theme every year. I thought it was always florals, and they just had a different twist to the florals every year. So
some years that it's like costumes or black, or there's always a different. I loved it this year. Everybody coming in with a different version, even if it's a black and white dress that looked like a tulip. I just think it was spectacual. And if you look at last year's, Jared Leto came in dressed as a cat, Karl Lagerfeld. It was just weird. Sometimes it's dumb. I mean, even this year, you saw Lana Del Rey she had a bee's nest on her head. I mean, there's always going to be the weirdos, but it was just beautiful. Certain ragazzi.
This was the first time
I watched. Well, we know why we watch it.
Yeah, I watched the entire red carpet. I was aware of Met Gala, and it was rumored that somewhere in one of the fan groups, someone was speculating whether Damiana was going to be at Met Gala. And Dove did look. She looked pretty. They looked happy. No. Does anyone think? Because there's a video out there where they are trying to read their lips, and are they saying "I love you, baby"?
I did not see that, and I don't think I could handle it.
I know.
I didn't see that.
Where did you see that on?
That just
on Instagram.
In the last day or so, probably on Instagram, it's someone taking footage where they look at each other and they do the matching scrunch noses that Della loves so much.
Sorry, that is just nasty. I can't listen. Scrunch your nose, but when he scrunched his incredible nose, I just wanted to smack them both, mash their heads together. Sorry, I did not like the matching nose. Sorry.
Well, I don't like it when she does it, and I certainly didn't like that he matched it.
Listen,
but whatever. I'm gonna try.
But you know what they did? They have been together since like October, right, or something like that, or even maybe a little before. It could be, it could be love. I mean, people say it much sooner than that.
And do we think that ring on her finger, on her middle finger, is possibly an engagement
No,
ring?
I'm gonna.
Or just jewelry
I'm not
she was
even-
I don't think
wearing?
so.
No. Okay.
No.
I don't think so.
But listen, when you're doing
think
skincare
so.
together, it's kind of intimate, you know. That's kind of cute. I mean, as much as I don't want to like her, I'm listening to her speak a lot because I really want to be in before I make this. And I can't say that I kind of like her. I like the way she talks. I think she's smart. She's very quick-witted. She seems to be chill. I don't know. I think she might be good for him. Sorry, Della.
I hate. No,
I don't trust her. I just don't.
I don't want to say that she might be good for him, but there are things I don't mind about her, you know. And he does look happy,
He
right?
looks happy. He looks
happy
relaxed,
and healthy,
peaceful.
but he also looks he's getting a little too Hollywood.
Well, that yes.
And we can talk
Yes,
about
that's
that.
for sure.
I think that's what bothers me about her and him is him spending the time in LA. Oh, we're gonna get to it when we talk about the Mexico City performance, but I feel like he distracted from
Right.
Måneskin, not necessarily from his own career. But I just think there's something there that I hate the whole
Oh,
Yoko
for sure.
reference,
So I was
but
thinking.
It's okay, go
Is
for
that
it.
what we're experiencing?
Totally thinking that. 100%.
Is that what's
Because he's the last one to come into a show. He's the first one to leave. He doesn't hang out with them too much anymore. He does his job and then
Have we seen any posts? Have they been together
the
since
band.
Mexico City?
No, I have not seen anything.
No.
Yeah, have we
He's-
seen anything?
He's back in hiding now.
Well, or
right?
with
we know where
her.
Vic is. We know where Thomas is.
Yeah, well, we don't never know where Ethan is, but where is she? Is he with her because she's in the show now? She's doing so much promo right now. Hopefully, he's recording or something.
Well, hopefully he's finishing up his recording so that he can come ready to the June festivals in better shape than he came to Mexico, and we'll get to that later. So finish
Well,
up
we
your
can get to
album.
it
Get your distract. What's that?
So we can get into it now. I
Okay,
mean,
all right.
or unless we're not. Are we done with?
Are we done with
Are we
Met
not done
Gala?
with
I
Met
just,
Gala?
Kathy, just so everyone knows, Della and I and two others were in Mexico, and Kathy was watching it on our live
Yeah,
stream.
it was fun.
And Della and I, what's more, so Della and I have some feedback, which is also a little bit different than the feedback of the other mamas that was there. So as we talk about it today, Kathy, you're definitely going to hear I think a very specific viewpoint. And
I
then
can give you,
feel free to ask
I can
questions.
give you mine because while I was watching it, I've seen
Yes.
your footage and so much more footage. I have my own opinion.
Excellent. Okay. So Della, why don't you take it off? Take us away.
Well, first of all, it was a great time. 4 of us went from the group to Mexico City and fully ready to see, okay, what are we going to experience? Because it's been 5 months. We saw them in Dublin, and then they performed one last time after in
Manchester. Yep.
And all this time we know, or a lot of the time, Damiano's been in LA. He's doing some other things. We know Vic's been DJing. We just wanted to see what are they going to be like. And I remember looking at Sandra at some point during the show early on, and it was like, what's happening? What's happening up there? There's no interaction. Where's the playfulness between Damiano and Vic? Where's the playfulness, period? Yes, he did play to Thomas a couple of times, but one time I saw he went up to Vic, and that was her part in Cool Kids. And even then, it wasn't the playful, he usually put his arm around her or something like that. It was nothing like that. And then we made some other observations that you described about Damiano.
Yeah, absolutely. So the physical, and remember, there was the pre-show where he did not show up to Mexico with the whole band. This is the first time in 5 months you're kicking off your 15-day festival tour. The anticipation is high. 3 members get off the plane. Where is Damiano? So that struck us as odd. And then we were talking to some people who were at the airport to greet them in Mexico City, and they did learn that Damiano chose not to get on that flight. We don't know the reasons why. Was trying to get a different ticket, and then his only options were to just come in late. So, and the band assured the fans at the airport that everything was cool. Okay, but that didn't sit well with us, the mamas. So we're going, what's up with that, right? So now more anticipation. Yay, we're gonna see the band. How's it all gonna be? And of course, we were excited about the set list and all that. And then, the first notes of Don't Want to Sleep were like,
Don't want to sleep.
it's like, okay, is this going to be the Rush Tour abbreviated or something like that? So there was a little bit of that, I don't want to say it's disappointment, but maybe it was just a little bit like, surprise us. Really surprise us. And then Damiano comes out. I don't know, Della.
Oh my
Looking
God.
beautiful.
Yes.
Looking
Oh my God.
beautiful. Mustache gone, thank God.
Well,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Kathy.
that was the other thing. Mustache was gone, and the monitors, the screens at the festival are humongous. So we had the benefit of being able to stare at the stage and just glance over to this monitor and see everything about his face was
I
perfection.
don't think he's looked better. Honestly,
It really
this is-
was. The
with
hair.
the exception of Prince Iano, I like that longish hair. He looks better now than he has. He's working out. He's filling
Agreed.
out. He looks less exhausted than he was at the end with Georgia. I'm sorry, but he was exhausted towards the end of their relationship. He looks he's perfection. He's perfection. And in my
looks good.
opinion, I mean, I expected them to start out with Don't Want to. I imagined that they would have a relatively abbreviated Rush set list without B stage, of course, and without the choice of cover song. But I don't.
What made you think that, though?
Because it's a festival, so they didn't have time to do their whole show. They didn't have this.
No, but why couldn't they have brought in the driver and
They had to choose. I guess they had to choose what they had
Off
to
my
do.
face.
Do you think it was
Off
their
my
choice
face.
of how long to play? I'm sure it was a group.
I don't know what was about the how long, but I think it's because they didn't get a chance to practice, so they couldn't
I
come up
don't
with a new
agree with
set
that
list or
because when
something
you're playing a
fun.
festival like that, it goes from seconds to seconds. Sam Smith is ready. These other bands, everybody's
Right.
ready. You have this much time. And somebody's doing the math of how long each song is, how long he usually talks in between, and it's a specific formula. So they had to choose the songs to do it. I don't think it was up to just them. I don't like, we talked about the fact that it is.
It probably
So
was not.
they-
So that's
It
it.
probably was not.
I
But-
And also-
like.
I'm sorry, but the thing that I really noticed
I'm sorry.
was,
No.
I forget what song it was. I might have been Tibuani. It was fast. They seemed to be playing every song a little bit faster than, like, the tempo was just a little sped up. But the voices, oh my God, his voice, incredible. This is one of the first times in a long time that I really got blown away by Thomas. Thomas is just a freaking full-on rock star. And I was very impressed by the quality of the music. I mean, they definitely, each song they did sounded fantastic. His voice sounded great. Of course, I wasn't there. I was sitting on, streaming it, but I miss them so much. Maybe that's part of it. I miss them so much and seeing them live and singing together. So seeing that show was just, I was in tears and laughing and every emotion in the world going on watching you guys there. So that's my, I give it a 10.
A
10 out of
10.
10.
Okay. Well, and I don't want to leave the impression that we weren't feeling the emotions and the elation and all that, but we were definitely starting to feel a little critical and skeptical. And the context you just gave, if the festival is really like, if there are limitations and he can't ad lib and he can't talk and they can't stage dive and do a lot of that stuff the same way at a concert, that might make me feel a little better about the performance, because I walked away thinking this was not the showman.
Right.
This was not the Damiano showman that he showed us consistently from the streets to.
But they had the freedom, though. It was
December.
just them. They had the freedom to do anything they wanted. I mean, at all our shows, all the Rush shows that we were at, he was totally dialed in. He was in. They were interacting. But when you play a festival, like I said, you have a limited amount of time. And I bet you this is going to be the same thing for this whole season. Because they are they're on the headlining stages now. Even when they did a couple of the Nova Rock or Pink Pop a couple of years ago, they were on side stages. They were B bands. They were not up there with the big headliners, so they could definitely wing it a little bit more. It wasn't so strict. But when you're opening for Sam Smith in Mexico City, you gotta follow the rules, and they don't make them; they just follow them, and that's really why I believe that their set was what it was. It was just stripped down to.
What do you think, Della? Does this change your reaction at all? Are you more forgiving?
I can't say that I was unforgiving. It was more, what Kathy said, individually they were amazing. I will give them that. Ethan seemed to play with aggression. I don't know if he was mad too.
Mad too.
Vic was perfect. Well, I have a feeling there's some kind of.
Well, they might have been mad that he didn't.
Ethan was fierce.
He was fierce, but they could have been a little pissed off that he
Yes,
didn't come with
absolutely.
them. But they're gonna have to start
Exactly,
accepting
and that's
this.
what I'm
Listen-
saying.
Listen, they're all growing up into adults, and he has this other kind of, personal life right now.
Life?
Yeah. I mean, they used to all just fly from Rome, fly wherever they went. Georgia was in Rome. It was just the way it was. Now, this girl is in LA and she's an American. And they're not used to accepting that because they've been together for so long and it's been the same thing. And now he's making life choices that don't include them 100%. I can see how that could cause them to be upset. It's going to make Ethan play better, then so be it. But
Well, I'll be curious to see what the rest of the shows look like. I know Sandra, you're considering going to one.
Yeah.
I'm a huge maybe. We've got our other people on the ground who are ready to report back for the next
Yeah.
2 shows, which is
Yeah.
June 8th and 9th. Is that correct? So I just want to see how those are going to play out.
For
I'm
sure.
not trying to pass judgment. I just like to see them together anymore. I just want to see them gel.
Yes.
Whether it's a short list, whether it's the same tired list we've heard. I want to see them back to what they used to be together on stage.
I think
There's just
I'm not sure if we're going to see
That would
that.
make the
I don't know if we're
difference.
going to see that for a while. Like, first of all, this year is filled with nothing but
That
festivals.
can make me cry.
There's nothing but festivals this year, right? They have nothing but festivals. So they're going to, and they're all on main stages. They're going to have their limitations. Hopefully, you know, maybe what's her face, that we're not going to say the word, she who shall not be named, will show up at some of the shows, which will make him relax a little more, not rush in and out. But this year of festivals is going to be different. I'm just hoping that they decide to do another tour before another album comes out. Because they can't just, that's when we're going to see them back together, when they're on the stage by themselves.
I can't see them touring before they go write again, or at least write something. Because what are they going to do? Unless they're going to.
Well, they have so many songs.
do
They
them.
said they had so many songs. They had to pare down to the 17 for the first part of the version, and 5 more songs. They said they had like 80 songs that they did in that whole LA those months.
Unless they're not relevant anymore.
Oh,
you
true.
know, I mean, they wrote them at a different point in their lives. Like, what is Damiano going to write
Yeah,
now?
it's gonna be a little bit more
What is go?
upbeat, I bet. A little less all my face,
I
blah blah
would've-
blah. A little less of that.
Oh, so, gosh, I would have if they were on point, if they were truly a quartet on stage, I would have forgiven the set list being the same set list, and I
Absolutely.
think you just wanted, but it was too many of these nuances put together, created. Like Della and I looked at each other, and like Della mentioned, and at one point she was like, "Yeah, I guess you're not going to Pink Pop after
Yeah,
that."
that's a shame.
and it was and hit okay, one last thing about the differences, well, hopefully the last thing. Vocally, he was doing different things, and it's whether he sounded his singing sounded slightly less accented, a little less nasally,
Very polished.
less
Very
staccato.
polished, it sounded to me.
Yeah, but we like Damiano's
Of
voice
course
the way
we do.
it
That's
is,
what I'm saying.
right? That's
It,
what
it
we
was
like
it was
about
very
it.
stiff and polished. It wasn't, you know, the free Italian boy. You know?
No,
Yeah.
no, and he was ending. There were things. It was just the way he was singing. I'm not a vocalist, and I can't describe it. But I know he was doing different things. My son used to study voice, so I know like there were just different finishes that he was doing there. That I was like, why are you doing that?
No,
Why?
I am.
Is there a
Yes,
reason
there
for
is.
it?
I am a vocalist, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the things that he just ended it cold. He ended many of his songs cold. He didn't hold out with his vibrato or, you know, go up and down, you know, with the runs. He ended almost all the songs cold like they did on the album. There wasn't a lot of straying from the actual song itself. When normally, you know, on the Rush tour on the stages, he ad-libs a little bit. You know, he does a little bit of, you know, a different. I don't know. I just think he's in a whole different headspace.
And I did reach
Agreed.
out to some people in Italy to kind of say like, what's up? And the response I got was he's distracted. He's not distracted, preoccupied with his personal project, which is fair, totally fair. The other exception I have to that is you committed to Tecate Emblema, you committed to this show, deliver. I don't care that you have this personal project, but deliver Måneskin for this audience. And he did not deliver Måneskin.
Maybe he's too
And-
young to be able to split his life in that way. You know, they're so young, and they never had this kind of problem, if you want to call it a problem, before. It's almost like he doesn't know how to do both. Maybe he shouldn't do it yet. You know, maybe he's not ready because he's not able. Because you know what it is also, he's such a genuine person. He's so sincere. There's really not a lot of pretense at him. So he's not faking. This is how he actually felt. You know what I mean? So he was performing with.
Damn, girl, you got some revelations
saying.
coming out of you today.
This is how he felt, and he's not able to fake it. He's not an actor yet, you know, even though the Maserati, whatever. And he's not able to be fake. And I kind of like that. You know, if he's distracted or preoccupied by solo, by She Who Shall Not Be Named, I would like to see his personality show that, even though, you know, want them to be the four of them forever. It's tough. It's tough to grow up. Adulting sucks. We all know.
So maybe this is growing pains. I'm going to try to be open-minded and diplomatic about this, but I definitely had some selfish fan emotions that were coming to the surface in Mexico, and took and immature. I think I said I'm taking my picture of Damiano off my
Oh my
wall.
God.
I was like really pissed. Like I was pissed by him. Like there was some sort of like emotion coming out of me. And look, there's the psychology of fandom.
Well,
I'll
yes,
say that
for
for
sure.
the next
Psychology
podcast.
of fandom. But also, because we are such OG, you know, there are a lot of people at that festival who are not 3 years. I mean, there are people who are more probably, but there are a lot of those young girls, they're not from Live or whatever it is. They're new to this. A lot of people go to those festivals because they want to be at the festival, you know? I think because of where we came from, coming from the Bowery Ballroom to this is a huge, huge change. It's so different, and it's hard for us, since we are, you know, just us, to accept that radical change. I've never seen that in any band, because I've been following lots of bands at the beginning. These guys have matured and changed so much since that show back in that little club, and that's tough for us to grasp. A professional opinion.
Della, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, tagging on what she said about the festival, to me then, Sandra, I felt like he should have been even more over the top, even more, because this was his opportunity to win more fans. The Sam Smith fan, the Mexico fans that were there for the Mexican artists on that stage. Like, it should have been over the top, not pulled back and distracted. Because we've seen them. I didn't go to Lollapalooza, but we've seen them at Lollapalooza. We saw how they did when they opened for Rolling Stones. Like, they know how to put on that show. So to me, even more argument that he should have been there, present, ready to go, as a band.
To your point, if this was someone's first exposure to Måneskin, they may not come back, you know?
Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because they didn't know what it was. So they don't know what they're missing. All they're hearing is incredible music and for people. You know, they're not saying, oh God, they're not like they used to be. That's how we feel about it. But if they've seen them for the first time, they're going to appreciate that version. I'm hoping, you know, I hope I can't imagine anybody seeing that show and saying, for the first time.
No, not but...
No. But not blown over, like we were blown over.
Okay, I can see that.
Feeling it in your bones. Not that visceral reaction, you know, like.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And not to mention, we did hear from some Mexican fans directly, and Mexican fans that we know personally that were offended by somebody said, even to try to speak Spanish.
What
that
did
was
he say?
great. He also did insult the crowd. He told them that they were
In terms
like
of energy.
that they love.
Really? What song? Do you know what song it was for? Is that Slave?
Oh God, what song? I don't know.
Before Beggin. Before he introduced
I heard him
Reagan,
talking
I
about
think.
something, but it was in Spanish. Yes.
Well, then he says that he did this in a mixture of English and Spanish, and say, you know, we love playing Mexico City. You guys always
I did see
energy,
that,
the heat, blah blah blah. And then he goes, but tonight, and I was thinking, well, because of what you're putting out on stage, and you also remember half of the crowd there was for Sam Smith. So at that time, anyway. So I thought, ooh, they're going to be mad. You don't do Mexicans that way. And we did hear from them that they were offended.
They were not. They didn't appreciate those comments. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't appreciate that either. That's not cool. Not cool. Well, didn't he realize that half the crowd was for Sam Smith? I mean, he had to.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure he did.
So that half is not going to be jumping up and down and getting on their knees during "I Want to Be a Slave." You know.
Anyway, overall, great time. Great. It was so good to see them again, and it was just
It was bad. It was great to feel we're back. We're back in that vibe. The festival, I would totally go back to Tecate Emblema if there was a reason to go back. Like, I thought this was my first festival in another country as well. And, you know, it was nice and colorful. We had a good vantage point. We had purchased tickets that gave us, like, our own pit. It wasn't at front barricade, but it was close enough that we could appreciate the show and be comfortable for the most part. So it was totally cool, and we were planning to go to the Vic DJ show afterwards, but then we abandoned plans on that for assorted reasons.
It was midnight. We got rained on. We couldn't get an Uber. We were tired. It was a long
It was bad.
day.
It was bad. And then to make you laugh, we squeezed into the tiniest taxi going back, and I was like sideways. I couldn't open the door to get out. I was like lying on one hip, and my other hip was up. And I couldn't even reach over to get out of the car. So Tracy was sitting in the front and she had to let me out. And poor Della was getting squished in the middle. And it was...
How small of a cab for not to be able to fit 4 people? Was it like a smart car? Like Damiano's car?
Volkswagen. It was crazy.
Narrow. It was a narrow car. It was a very, very compact sedan. And maybe with Tracy in the back it would have been better. But I couldn't even get my long legs into it. Like, honestly, I felt like I was coming out of a clown car,
my God.
personally. Like, I should have sat in the front like I usually do.
That's great. It's a little story.
We had
little stories from your trip, you know, little extra stories or
little stories. So what other stories do we have? So we might have more stories, assuming Della and I make it to Pink Pop together. If not, it's a very good chance that I'm going to be there by myself, and then I'll report back.
Yeah, but you'll never be by yourself because of all the international friends we have made. You'll never be by yourself.
Absolutely. And just to talk about my community, we did find out one Ma fan was from the U.S. was in Mexico City by
Right, she
herself.
texted me. She's like, "Oh my God, where are you guys?"
And we
at?"
knew
Yeah.
her, and I'm glad Kathy pointed her to us. We had met her on the queue at MSG, and no one's ever alone at a Ma
We
show.
met her in
So
Littitz. She
Mamas,
was Littitz. Yeah.
That's right. In
Littitz,
Littitz. I forgot about
Littitz.
that.
That's
The
it.
tits.
Littitz.
That's my favorite. Love tits.
speaking of tits, wait. So we met the loveliest.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
No. We met the loveliest people, right, from Mexico City, the loveliest fans. And shout out to Gris, who had the Ethan's tits on her chest. And she
And
had the
showed
little
us.
pasties on, and she was happy to pose for photos.
You got to show me that. I didn't see that one.
Oh, I didn't show that. Okay, I will. Uh-huh.
It's on WhatsApp. Go look at pictures that we looked at. Yeah.
So
And then not Erica. Who else need a shout out to?
Aranza, Zoe, Sophia, the ladies in red, okay? Roja.
And they got on stage. We were so excited to see them on stage at the end of
Yes.
Cool Kids. And they gave Damiano, one of them, he got their double horns from one of them. So that was good. They queued first. They showed us the way there. They were very welcome. And we were excited as they got that
Isn't that
special
amazing
experience.
that the majority of them are like that? I mean, I've been to a zillion I've never seen such camaraderie and welcoming. Oh yes, get in front of me online. Sure, it's just so different. I don't know if this is one of the reasons why I love them so much. You know, I love people, but I mean, the people are just so incredibly gracious. Shows these young girls who are normally bitchy. You know what I'm saying? And these girls just aren't. What is it about this band that makes people just love each other?
Because the band is about freedom and love, and I don't know. I'd like to think it's because we're kind of nice, right?
Yeah, I know, but everybody's nice except for that one couple on the hammer sign.
Who will never hear this podcast
No.
anyway, but we definitely. Let's just say that there's Q code, right? Code on the queue, and you don't dismiss the numbering system and come over like it doesn't apply to you. But anyway, we'll do a whole podcast on the pitfalls
Right.
of the queue.
Being in
Oh
the pit.
God.
Being the-
I could tell you all different, and I have so many different opinions of different times in the pit. Like Chicago, when I thought I was gonna die, and in New York, which was fantastic. I mean, there's so many different pit scenarios. I'd love to have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So, speaking of concerts, the band was supposed to play Campovolo in Italy. That was rumored, and it was that same weekend that Tecate Emblema was. So once they signed up for that, we knew that was not going to happen. But AC/DC performed there, and our favorite guitarist, Thomas Nagy, was there with his parental units and other family members, maybe. And I believe Tommaso was working security at that event.
He posted a whole bunch of
Yeah,
pictures.
I
yep.
saw him.
So it's just so nice to see this regular stuff. We see Thomas. We know Vic was DJing in Croatia last night. And, I mean, Ethan pops in now and then, but we don't know where Damiano is. But yet we do know where Damiano is. Yeah.
Which is, again, back to original. I don't want to harp on it, but why are they not together rehearsing? Maybe they don't need to for this set list. It was nice to see Thomas out there with his family. And was it Reggio Emilia? Is that where the venue is?
I believe so.
And in AC/DC. We were supposed to be there for the record. My husband and I had made tentative to go,
Oh, that's
but
right.
his hip surgery, his hips just aren't progressing as quickly as we had.
Sorry.
Maybe we were just a bit too ambitious.
That's
okay. We'll
happened.
get out there
I've
again.
eaten a lot of tickets for a lot of shows that I've intended to go to and said, oh, well, there goes that much. But it was really cool to see Thomas, and they interviewed him here and there, and he was backstage. A picture of him with Brian Jones, whatever the name is. What is his name? Brian Jones? Lead singer?
But yeah, he was back there.
Yeah,
with
I
him.
mean,
That's
that is exciting. I mean,
that's
I'm watching
exciting.
Angus Young play now for a long time as a, rock and roll classic rock girl. Angus Young was up there as one of the, Angus Young. Obviously, Jimmy Page, Eddie, of course. But to see him play and have Thomas watching, that was really a cool experience. To see Thomas, who was like the ultimate guitarist, right? Watching Angus Young shred at 65 years. I wonder how he felt about that one. I have 50 more years of doing this. Do these kids think about their future, I wonder?
They started so young.
I know, but they're so
don't know.
talented. I mean, Thomas has, and obviously we love every single, but Thomas has the versatility of being incredible, and I just have high hopes for him.
And I think you can tell Thomas is happiest when he's on stage.
Yeah.
He was happy to be on stage. Vic, I mean, this is her baby, right? The band, Thomas and Vic. Måneskin is theirs. And Ethan, I mean, one of my favorite parts in Tecate Emblema is when the crowd started chanting Måneskin, Måneskin, and then Ethan just threw in some extra jumps, percussion, right? And yeah, because yes, I don't know if I've read more into it, but it was like, yes, because we are Måneskin, the crowd, we are what we are. Gosh.
Well, like I tell you, honestly, I never realized that you guys could have that kind of, it's like that reaction that you had missing of what we've had before. Because sitting home on my couch, it was honestly, because you didn't really see from start to nuances, but it was just amazing for me to be able to watch that. I mean, listen, you guys did what Roberto Sali has many years. We've been going live with him shows for years, and to see that without having to be there, I would have, I could have. It was great, and I didn't have any negative feelings, except I really didn't. I think that Diana's voice was on. It was very professional and polished.
Okay. I like hearing your perspective today, Kathy. It kind of helps me feel a little bit better. I don't know, Della, if it changes anything for you.
Meh.
I mean, like I said, I didn't feel negative other interaction that we know and that we love that we age,
Yes.
which sometimes recordings can't capture because you're focused on one of the band, not necessarily the entire stage.
Well, I have to say this, did they do For Your Love? Because that's the big one for Thomas, and they did.
Yes.
And did they interact, the two of them? Because that's the...
No. I think he might have interacted a little bit with. Yes, he did the whole light.
But he also has the whole thing where he goes over and says, "I will do anything for your love," and he has to lift the strings and all that stuff. No, not so much.
I wouldn't say that. But he definitely got the light out and he shined it to the audience. Shined it on Thomas. He did shine it on Vic, but just that was about it. It was definitely, your word polished is right, but it too clean.
It was very clean. It was very clean. It was nice. For sure. I can see that.
Okay.
All right, Sandra.
I'm going to say one last thing, and then I think we're probably going to wrap up. Unless you all want to keep chatting.
Well, we could.
But we could. And forgive me, but I don't believe he was a rock star in Tecate Emblema.
Damiano.
Correct. He was not the rock star.
But he looked freaking good. My God.
He was a performer.
He was a performer. I could see that.
Ding.
He was a performer.
I wonder if he got off the stage and just got on a plane and left the meeting.
Whatever.
Well, Ethan went to Vic's show afterwards, but I don't know where Thomas went, but Damiano used to go to her shows. What's her name, who cannot be named, should get more involved in his life rather than him getting more involved in. That's my opinion. He's changing his whole way about the with the band for her, basically, and his solo career. If that's what is truly going on. God, I can't believe. Let's put that down. Let's put a pin in it. The solo career. We have to speculate what that's going to be like. I'm very excited about the ballads.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of
part of me is like, I'm not going to go listen.
Oh, God.
Until you start performing like the quartet that you are. I'm not listening to you.
I'm totally listening to it. I am so ready. I am so here for that. For sure. Anything. Listen, I want to hear him sing anything. I want his voice in the Maserati commercial. His voice on all those little... Just his voice.
His voice at Bon Jovi at the
So
Music
great.
Cares. I mean, for him to pick up that song, which he probably
he had to work on
has
it.
never
He
heard.
did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
And he looked incredible that
Absolutely.
night. Oh my God. I wonder if he's...
That's the problem. You just see a picture of Damiano and just
forget it.
over. It's like,
He can't do no wrong. I mean, he's just picking up her train to get in the limo without even being asked or told. I mean, he's such a gentleman. His parents must be so proud of him.
Or are they worried?
Well, I'm sure they're always going to be worried. I mean, you always do. My son's in the other room and I'm worried, but you're always, but the pride in watching how his public persona is this, you can't pick any apart, he's a gentleman. And that's what moms want for their boys, and grow up and find men.
And he's still a good boy.
He's a good boy.
I mean him no disrespect.
I know that you don't, but we have an expectation of this band. But no, he's a good boy.
All right, mamas.
On that note, Sandra, I do hope that you'll end up at Pink Pop. I also hope that I end up there with, if not, I can't perspective.
Yes, I will try to come objective.
I wonder how much different it will be in Europe if they'll do the same set. I mean,
That's what I'm really, really interested in. But I bet you it's going to be the same, especially if they're not
they don't,
together
like you
right
said
now.
before, they don't really need to rehearse these. They're written in their DNA. All right.
All right, mamas.
It's been a pleasure once again. Ciao, ragazzi.
Ciao.
Okay, see you guys soon.
Ciao.
Mwah.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye-bye.